Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to listen up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Thank you, KK, Phil, and Ryan. Listen up. Usually, Ryan, it's natural to look forward and circle the biggest game on the calendar when the schedule gets out every year. You're looking for that number one opponent if you do face them, if you are UConn. This time, though, you and I circled this a long time ago. And it's not just because it was a team that UConn beat last March in the tournament. It's not because it's just some random team that we circled on the calendar, right? It's not just because they're the number 7 USC Trojans, but it is because personally, you and I finally get to experience the XL Center in person. Thank you so much, Ryan. We will be leaving Friday morning, and thank you, UConn Huskies Nation, for making this possible for Ryan and I from the bottom of my heart, man. I'm sure Ryan feels the same. Just thank you. Ryan, thank you so much for coming through on that last episode on Tuesday night. And I have to say, Jason said I was smiling ear to ear wherever I was. I sure was. After watching your game recap, you did a great job and the highlights of that game. And I had to tell you, if it's any indication, leave it all in your hands. If it's any indication, what happened Tuesday night carries over to Saturday night when we are there. JuJu Watkins and company are in for a nightmare.
Yeah, we can only hope that it carries into Saturday night. It was definitely a fun game. Yeah, appreciate everybody coming through Tuesday night for that game recap. I know that was a really fun one to watch and a really fun game to recap. So hopefully we have a similar experience Saturday night. And yeah, we finally made it. The possibly the most anticipated matchup of the year, maybe not just for USC and UConn fans, but all of women's college basketball fans. Number 4 UConn against number 7 USC. Both teams 10 and 1, and funny enough, both teams' losses have come to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And of course, like you mentioned, we've been announcing it for a while. We will be at the game. I can't imagine how loud it's gonna be inside the XL Center, a sold out crowd, nationally televised game. This game has a little bit of everything and the potential to be the game of the year. I'll dive into UConn real quick and then USC. For the Huskies, they're coming off their best offensive performance of the year and the best three-point performance in school history. Now, if that doesn't give you momentum, I'm not sure what will. AZ Fudd, like I mentioned, did not participate in warm-ups on Tuesday night. I don't have an official update for her, but my guess is she will be out for this game, but I haven't really seen an update yet. And if that's the case, Ashlyn Shade will get the start, and I really hope she can carry that hot hand into this game along with Paige Bueckers and Sarah Strong, just like they've been doing for us the whole entire season. But I don't think UConn can rely on making 23 pointers again to win. So everybody's going to have to do their part on defense. Everybody's going to have their hands full trying to stop JuJu Watkins, Kiki Arifin, Talia von Olahoffen. Despite Ice Brady, Jana El Alfie still struggling to score inside the paint, they did do a solid job on defense against Iowa State, so I hope that continues as well. Now, for USC, I just mentioned their big three. Everybody knows about the sophomore guard, JuJu Watkins, potential player of the year candidate, but, averaging 24 and a half points, 6 rebounds, and of course, the Trojans landing a Refin from Stanford, TVO from Oregon State, in the transfer portal during the all season, possibly some of the biggest moves. I know we were covering both of them. Really big news for USC when they got both of those players. Arifin averaging 19 points, almost 10 rebounds. TVO averaging 7. USC, though, also has freshman Kaylee Heckel and senior Rhea Marshall putting up solid numbers as well. So, obviously, like I said, it's going to be hard to stop all of them, but I think UConn needs to keep the crowd in it the whole entire time. come out swinging, and this should just be a great matchup to watch all the way around.
Yeah, you said it right. We'll say predictions for last, like always. Look, if anybody cares, Ryan, just take a step aside for a minute and bear with me here. We are in section. I'll announce it this time. I didn't the other time. I don't think I did because we actually had media passes, but this time we are in section 234. We would love to see your smiling face, especially if you have subscribed to this channel. If you come through and watch the videos, please come through, and we would love, Ryan and I would love to meet each and every one of you. If, matter of fact, if you are at this game, Ryan, yeah. So get back down on into the last check in here. Last check in before that plane ride. All right, cross your fingers, dot your I's, Ryan. Yeah, this is a team, UConn Huskies team, Ryan. We have to remember that in this matchup, they upset. If you remember right, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that USC was number one seed, right? And you and I had UConn
Yeah.
losing, right, against JuJu Watkins and company back in March. What happened? 80-73. Final score, UConn. Southern California goes home in March Madness. But again, we're talking about a UConn Huskies team that has to try to find a way to fill in the big missing shoes, right, of Aaliyah Edwards. This is a matchup Saturday night that features no Nika Mule. And I believe that's the only two big ones. So, I mean, but the way Sarah Strong has stepped up and the rest of this crew so far, is it a real big concern? Now, I'm really, really happy that you put focus on AZ Fudd and Aubrey Griffin. You have to remember, and thank you for the Patterson update last night, by the way. Shout out to her. Hope she has a full recovery. Prayers for her, right? But again, is it that big of a deal? And I'm not saying we need Fudd and we need Griffin, right? But what do you take away from this? Is it just like it's totally cool? You're just going in there rocking out, Ryan, all white out, by the way. So it's going to be hard to find you and I, right? We might want to wear different colors, but you have to let me know that. Yeah, but I mean, you're just going in there, all confident if you're Gino and company, or do you think that the effects start to hit? The only reason why I'm asking you, I mean, this is a good team. Don't get me wrong, this is a good team, right? JuJu Watkins and USC. What is it going to look like without Fudd and Griffin, assuming they don't play?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can't really rely on UConn shooting that well again, but I think the story kind of remains the same because obviously we haven't seen Aubrey Griffin the whole year, and now that AZ Fudd has been out for uh, pretty much the whole year. I mean, she's only played in 2 games, so I think that the story kind of remains the same for every other game, pretty much. It's Ashlyn Shade being able to step up in the starting lineup, and somebody's scoring. If it's not Ashlyn, somebody's scoring besides Paige and Sarah. I think Caitlin Chen didn't really get much going against Iowa State either. But I think for Ice Brady and Ice Brady, Jana, El Alfie, I mentioned their offensive struggles. Played good on
Mhm.
defense, but they just haven't really gotten a lot going inside the paint. So it would be nice to see them get a lot more opportunities and convert those opportunities inside the paint. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of KK Arnold and Morgan Shelley off the bench as well. So they're going to be big, having big roles off the bench in this game, just like they have in recent games as well.
All right, here we go. Comments and then predictions. Big, big predictions. Stevie Kinsey said Ash was on fire in that first quarter. If she could consistently score 15 to 20 points for us per night, it would be a game changer. Sarah filled the stat sheet. I'm really concerned with our lack of post play. Jana and Ice got no buckets down low, and Jana got absolutely owned by Crooks.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really that hard for Ashlyn to put up those numbers. I mean, obviously she scored 15 points in 5 minutes last night, so it's not hard for her at all to get on a roll and get that hot hand pretty quickly. So, I think Ashlyn's gonna be able to provide those 10 to 15, maybe even 20 points a lot of nights moving forward. And yeah, like I said, Jana and Ice Brady, I think it's really important for them, either one or both of them, to get something going down low because their offensive production is as just important as anybody else on this team.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ryan, if these threes continue to pour like this all season, again, tough to do that, but just even half of them, right? I mean, that's huge. That is huge. That's what you do. That's what makes or breaks you in March, right? When we talk about pulling away late in games, even early in games. I mean, that's yeah. Let me just keep talking about raining threes. All right. Why don't you talk about it as well, Ryan? Let's go over to Bond Riley said, I have been watching the players UConn missed out on in the transfer portal. Beers, Oklahoma, Kiki Arifin, and Von Holflin, USC, are not really UConn style of players. If Chen would shoot more like she did at Princeton, no one would complain. UConn has a heck of a team. Get Chelly and Zabel going and look out.
Yeah, and it's not like Kaylin Chen's playing bad at all. I think she's really played great in almost every game, especially from, defense and passing. I mean, really the only thing she's struggling with is shooting, and it's not like she's missing every shot. I just don't really think she shoots the ball that much. She doesn't really need to score 20 every night for UConn to win, but she does get a decent amount of open looks, I feel like, during the games, and she passes up a lot of them. So, I'm sure the coaches are telling her, probably even all the teammates as well. The players are telling her to shoot more because she can definitely shoot with all of them. And yeah, I would love to see Kaylin taking a lot more of those open shots that she does get.
One more. The Biden for the gum says, looked great. Was a good. This should be what we expect. A win Saturday night would set the team up to remain in the top five all season. Just a note, wonder what they would look be with a post player making shots too, but nice win.
Yeah, it'll definitely set UConn up pretty nicely if they win on Saturday night versus USC. And then, of course, we get into the Big East play, and then really, it's just South Carolina in terms of really big, tough opponents from here on out. Yeah, I think obviously Sarah Strong being such a dominant force pretty much anywhere on the court, but I think UConn would almost be an unstoppable team if they had somebody like Aldi Crooks that could just dominate inside the paint and still be able to make shots while she's double teamed. But yeah, I think UConn's playing great nonetheless, and it should definitely be a fun matchup Saturday.
All right, here we go, Ryan. Got to write these down this time. Can't just forget about them. Score and who wins.
Well, I haven't really been on with many of my predictions this year, especially in the big games, but I'm gonna pick UConn. I think it's gonna be close most of the game. Final score is tough. I'm gonna say UConn 80, USC 74.
80 to 74. All right, Ryan, and you're going UConn. Is that correct?
Yep,
All
yep.
right, I will go. UConn is winning this one. How can they lose? They can't lose. Come on, tell them, Ryan. You and I coming up there, special trip, only once a year, right? Annually, they got to win. Tell the Arnold family, come on, this is it, right? Bring the heat, Ryan. I'm going UConn wins this one 88 to 76. 88-76 over USC. I think USC hangs around for most of the game, but just too much to handle. Ryan, I have one thing to tell you. Before we hit the plane, welcome to the basketball capital of the world. Phil and Rye, we can't wait to see you. That's right, you. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.